Hello lovely book dragons and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Joana and I love to talk about books on this channel, specifically fantasy books. And today I want to share with you all the books I want to read in the month of February. How is it February already? I don't know. If you're new here, two little things before we start. First thing is, I don't really like knowing much about the books I read before getting into them, especially if they're not sequels, then I tend to know nothing about them or very, very little. So if you wanted in-depth synopses for these books, this is not the channel for that, because I just don't do that. The other thing is, I used to be known for very ambitious TBRs, and you saw probably the thumbnail, you're like, haha, she's back with ambitious TBRs. No, I also showed you my pile of possibilities in there. So I tend to try and go for 5 books per month on my TBR. I have some obligation reads, which are buddy reads that I've agreed to. And that's kind of it. I aim for 100 pages per day because that feels that like that's something I can reach. So I'm going to show you the books that I'm definitely planning on reading. And then we're going to go into the whatever I feel like right now is these books, but this could change throughout the month and then I could just read whatever I feel like. The very first book on my February TBR is, of course, A Clash of Kings by George R. R. Martin. If you didn't know, I am one of the co-hosts for the biggest Song of Ice and Fire read-along that is happening at the moment on BookTube, on Discord, everywhere, which is hosted by Johanna, Jolien, Scot, Alex, and myself. We are the 5 hosts for this read-along, and of course, that means A Clash of Kings. Now, I read A Game of Thrones in January. I reread A Game of Thrones in January. This is also a reread. In 1 week, because I was off sick. I had the flu, I was home, I could read at my little heart's content, just at the pace I wanted, and I finished that book in 5 days. This, I'm not going to finish in 5 days. This is going to take me the whole month to read because it's big. I want to annotate it. I'm not going to audiobook it. This is going to be just pure physical read with pausing a lot to annotate, to write in it, to freak out about things I'm reading. So this is going to take forever, but it's going to be the best journey ever. I'm so excited. In my memory, this is my least favorite of the ones I've read because I have only ever read through A Song of Swords. So this was my least favorite, but it has one of my favorite chapters. And I am actually the host for this book on my channel. We're going to talk about it on March 4th, so write it in your calendars. We're going to be having the live show for that, and then on March 11th we're going to be talking about the chapter of the House of the Undying here on the channel as well. By the way, if you want to be one of the co-hosts for that live show of the House of the Undying, let me know. I have a few guests lined up. There's still the one or the other spot open, so if that interests you, let me know. You're seeing this video on the 31st of January, if I'm not mistaken. So if you have read A Game of Thrones before, we are having our A Game of Thrones live show this Saturday, the 4th of February, on Joanna's channel, which of course I leave everyone in the description of this video. So if you wanted to chat A Game of Thrones with us, that's where you should be on Saturday. And then on March 4th, you can be on this channel to talk A Clash of Kings. I'm very much looking forward to getting into this one again, and I love this series. This is my favorite series. I love it so much. I can't wait to get to it. Next up, I'm continuing my journey through the realm of the Elderlings with my friend Sophia. We read all through Tawnymen in January. So we started Tawnymen in December and read Golden Fool and Fool's Fate. I'm still reading it at the time of filming. My heart hasn't been shattered yet, but it will be today and tomorrow. I already know. But yeah, we have read Tawnymen, and now we're on to the Rainwilds. So I'm putting book 1 on the TBR, Dragon Keeper by Robin Hobb, because I don't know if Sophia and I are going to want to read 1 book, 2 books, 3 books in the series. We'll see how we get along with it. We didn't plan on reading Fool's Fate right after Golden Fool, but we finished Golden Fool and we were like, hey, let's just read Fool's Fate right now. And so we both did because we felt like it. So this could be that we read the first one and we're like, okay, we'll read the next one in March, or we could just read book 2, which I don't even remember which one is it. The book 2 is Dragon's Haven. So it could be that we also read that one in the month of February. I do not know, but at least I know that we will be getting to Dragon Keeper. I am a little bit nervous about the Rainwilds because I've heard that this is not Hobb's best series, but I have also heard that it's still very good because it's Hobb, you know. And I trust Hobb, and I'm very excited to get into this series. Also, the books are getting shorter, at least for this series, which is also a bit refreshing because 900-page tomes are good, but sometimes you just need something a little bit shorter, especially for February, the shortest month of the year. And then the third and final obligation read I have is A Knight's Shadow by Sebastian de Castell. This one was actually on my January TBR. I was supposed to just go straight into this after finishing Trader's Blade with my friend Rick, but we ended up not doing that. So I haven't actually talked to Rick about this. Rick, if you're watching, are we reading this in February? Because it's on the TBR now, so it's on your TBR now. I guess that's how it works. But yeah, Traitor's Blade is a series about these greatcoats who used to be the king's men, but then the king died, and they are now seen as less than noble heroes, let's say. And the thing that I really, really liked about Traitor's Blade was the friendships and the just like the found family aspect of that series, of that book at least. And then I think it could get like into a really interesting political fantasy for the sequels, but I don't know anything else, so I don't know if that is true, if it becomes that. But what I also really liked is the humor and how fun they are and how fast-paced. Knight's Shadow is considerably bigger than Traitor's Blade, so this is also a very big chunky book, but I am excited because it's just a bit more refreshing, you know, from other fantasies. So Knight's Shadow is on my TBR. Again, maybe it could be that we read Saint's Blood right after, or that we read Saint's Blood in March. I don't know. I'll talk to Rick and see what he wants to do. This TBR is very white, blue, grayish, and I really love it. Those three are my obligation reads. These are the books that I have agreed to read with other people, that I really want to get to continue my series, to binge my series that I'm reading. And then I have a few other books that I could be reading. I could be reading romance in the month of February because it is the month of February, but I'm not putting romance on my TBR. I'm just putting other fantasy books that I may get to. Continuing in the blue, gray, white vein, we have The Lost Metal, which I still haven't read, by Brandon Sanderson. It was on my January TBR, but then Fool's Fate just stole the spot. So I think I will be listening to The Lost Metal on audio. I am very, very interested in seeing how this era concludes, and I don't want to put it off anymore. So I actually think this is going to be in my actual TBR. I just pulled it out last second before filming, and I think I'm going to put this on my actual TBR as like a priority for the month. It is not very short, but I have heard that this one is incredibly fast-paced, which is very good because you need that when you're reading fantasy and you're reading A Clash of Kings on the side. So I'm very excited to get to this. This is the conclusion to Era 2. I mean, I think everyone knows what The Lost Metal is, right? You all know what this is about. So I'm excited to get to it. I'm also a bit nervous, to be honest, but I think we'll be good. We'll be good. And if I have time, I'd like to read Tress of the Emerald Sea. Still haven't read that either because I know I need to read this first. Otherwise, I'll put Tress on for March. Another book that has been calling my name from my shelves. I've owned this book for a year now. The sequel to this book is coming out this month in February. And I've owned this book, like I said, since then. And, well, since last year. And it never called to me. And then now, for the past week, it's all I've been thinking about is this book. And that is The Justice of Kings by Richard Swan. The Tyranny of Faith, I think it is coming out. Yeah, I think that's the title. It's coming out this month, and that cover is stunning. And that's why I want to read this one first to see if I like it, because if so, I am buying The Tyranny of Faith when it comes out. And this one is rather short. The audiobook is really short, and I've heard that the audiobook is really well done. So, yeah, I was thinking about this book. I was thinking about reading it this month because of the release of The Tyranny of Faith. And then my friend Alex was mentioning in his video that he wants to read this one as well. And I was like, you know what? I just took that as a sign of, you know, like, I've been thinking about this book. Alex mentioned it in his TBR. Now, here it is. You know, that's kind of how it goes. All I know about this one is that we follow this man, and he is judge, jury, executioner, everything in one person. But the story is told from his, I don't know if she's his apprentice or his scribe or whatever. Yeah, she's the one writing the story, but like in the future. So old her is retelling the stories from young her and this man. And I've heard so many great reviews about this one. I've also heard some people not really like it, but most people have really at least enjoyed it. And I think that this is a book that could really work for me. And so actually, yeah, I think this one is one that I'm going to be picking up. And then if I really like it, I'm also going to be picking up the sequel, of course, because that's what I'm about this year. Am I starting a new series? Yes. Am I starting a series that's not completed? Again, yes, but I'm also following my mood, which is very important. And then I have two other books here that are rather short. They are new releases. Are they beginnings of series? Possibly, like Every Fantasy Ever, but I did just buy them in January. They're January releases, and I'm trying to be better at reading the books that I buy right after I buy them, or like as close to buying them as possible, especially if they are new releases. Because if I'm going to be focusing on getting new books instead of reading all the stuff I have on my shelves, I better read them when I buy them. The first one is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This one is a cozy fantasy about, I think this is about a woman who is writing an Encyclopedia of Fairies with her arch nemesis. I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that my friend Abby absolutely loved this book, and she was like, Johanna, you have to read it, you have to read it. And so I bought it when it came out. It's here. I think also I want to read this because it is short and it is just cozy fantasy. Oh, by the way, this is by Heather Fawcett. I don't think I said that earlier. So yeah, this one is on the TBR just to kind of break up the heavy fantasies that I have on the TBR and to have something shorter. And this is probably going to be a great audiobook to have on in the car as well or something like that. And I mean, this cover was stunning, so I had to get this one just for the cover alone. And thanks to Abby and also Sophia, who ended up really liking it. So yeah, this one I think is going to be fun and cozy to read, and you do need that, you know, especially in a short month like February. It's still cold outside, so curling up with a book, cup of tea. Oh, I already see. It's peak cozy time. And the final book in this pile of possibilities is God Killer by Hannah Kenner. I don't know how you say that name. This one is also a January new release. This is, I think, about a woman whose family was killed by gods and now she kills gods. I think that's what it is about. To be quite frank, what drew me in was the cover. Yes, and then I heard loads of people put this on there, anticipated this, and then I hear synopses of books and then I forget them. And I think this has the God Among Us trope and she's trying to kill the gods, and that sounded so interesting to me. Short, fantasy, want to support this author. I love the cover, so I had to get it, and so I want to try and get to it in the month of February. We're in February. In the month of February, if I can, after reading all these things. Again, I'm following my mood with the pile of possibilities, with my maybe reading. That's just like these are books that I could get to if I really want to after focusing on my main priorities, or books that I could squeeze in between my main priorities. But whatever it is, I will follow the mood. So if in the middle of the month I decide I want to read a romance instead of reading this, for example, then that's what I'll do. But these are the books that I would actually really like to get to in the month of February, or at least some of them. That is my February TBR and pile of possibilities. Let me know if you've read any of these, which ones I should prioritize, especially from my pile of possibilities. And if you wanted to buddy read any of them, just let me know. Let me also know if you're gonna join in the Clash of Kings chat, and if you want to participate in the House of the Undying chat, because I'm so excited for the chat. I think we have like a few spots open if you wanted to join the discussion for that one. I am so excited. Like, I'm just loving this A Song of Ice and Fire reread, to be honest. And I will be sad when we're done. But then there's Fire and Blood, and there's Duncan Egg, and there's all the world books. So I think this is going to be a very good year. It's going to be such a good reading year. So let me know all those things in the comment down below. Let me also know what your main priority is for February in terms of reading. And if you just want to let me know that you were here, you can leave a dragon emoji as always. And until next time, happy reading.